Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So let's start the class.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone. So welcome to, I think, the third demo class. And for others, it's a usual class, those who have joined. So today's class, Phonology, Academy. So we'll go to the class proper. So today's class, we are focusing on phonology, and this unit comes under linguistics, which actually comes under unit 9. So under unit 9, you have two divisions. One, you have language, and another you have linguistics. So under linguistics, we have certain features, and one is that phonology. So next few days, up to Wednesday or Thursday, we will try to finish off everything under this category, linguistics, which is a subdivision under under unit 9. So today's focus, part 1, we will discuss all the 44 phonemes in the English language. Then we will go for phonetics, how the speech sounds are made, how we make sounds. Then we will go for classification of the 44 phonemes. So this is the outline of today's class, and let's begin. So part 1, phonemes 44. So in English, there are 44 phonemes. Before we go into that, so how many alphabets are there in English?
26.
Sure?
26.
Good. But they are letters. In English, we have only one alphabet. In English, we have only one alphabet. An alphabet is a series of letters. Or alphabet letters. So in English, we have one alphabet. That alphabet consists of 26 letters. So one alphabet, 26 letters, then you have 44 phonemes. So if you take any Indian language for that matter, since I am Tamil is my mother tongue. So if you take Tamil, so you have uyireluthu, vowel. Then that is one series. R to O, that is one series, right? Please put it on mute. So you have in Tamil, you have A, I, U, E, I, O, Au. So that is one series. So that is one alphabet. Then you go for consonants, mayiluthu. Then you have ikka, inga to in. That is another series, right? A series of letters. Then you have vowel consonants. That is a kind of a compound letters, combining vowel and consonant. So if you have ik is a consonant, then you have vowel a. Then if you put it together, you have ik plus a, ka. So it's a vowel consonant or consonant vowel. So this is how the Tamil language is made. So you have one series for vowel, one series for consonant, and you have around 18 for vowel consonant. Then you have only one alphabet, that is ak, that consists of only one letter. So you can analyze like this. But when it comes to the English language, I'm only speaking about the Tamil language. So the same thing you can analyze, the same way you can analyze Hindi or Malayalam or any Indian language for that matter. We have a lot of series of letters. So we can't say we have only one alphabet. So when it comes to English, we have only one alphabet, probably two, because if you consider small letters and capital letters, fine. But 26 letters, that's all. So you have 26 letters, one alphabet. So in English, one alphabet, 26 letters, A to Z, 26 letters. But phonemes is different. Phonemes refers to the sounds, the individual sounds we have, because sometimes we combine letters, we form a sound. So we'll look into these 44 phonemes today. And that consists of 24 consonants and 20 vowels. So let's understand what is a phoneme. We are not talking about alphabet. We are not talking about letters, but phoneme. Phoneme is a minimal sound unit in a language. So we have 44 phonemes. So look at this. So you put a phoneme, you enclose a phoneme within slashes. So you have f there. like F. So that sound, it's a sound. It's a minimal sound unit. F. And if it's a phoneme, you have to enclose it within forward slashes. But look at this. Now you will understand what a phoneme is. Roof. So in order to represent this one minimal sound unit, F, you have only one letter here. Roof. F. If you look at the next word, stiff, same sound, F, but in order to represent that, you have two letters. Next, you have cough, but you have GH to represent that sound. Next, you have graph, PH. Again, you represent that single phoneme. So this is the difference between phoneme and letters. So we are clear about alphabet. Alphabet is a series of letters, 26. Then you have 26 letters. You combine, or sometimes it stands single, but it represents a sound like F. Similar way, you have sounds like this, like E within forward slashes. So you find E in win. So here letter E and the phoneme E are one and the same. But next word is very interesting. Look at the word WOMEN, women. You pronounce this women, you pronounce the letter O as E, then the letter E as E. Earlier you have I, you pronounce it as a phoneme E. Then you have myth, Y, again you pronounce it as E, myth, you don't say might, myth. Then U is a letter, then you pronounce a phoneme as a phoneme, the sound is E, busy, you don't say buzzy. A similar thing is there in the word busy, B-U-S-Y, even Y there at the end, it's also E. So this is the difference between phoneme and letters. Phoneme is a minimal sound unit. See, this is how the English language differs from other languages. When it comes to the Indian languages, the letter and the way the letter is pronounced is almost one and the same, right? We are, I think I can make this statement, most Indian languages are phonetic languages, whereas in English, not generally phonetic, but when you say English, English is mostly non-phonetic language. What we mean by that? When I say most Indian languages are phonetic languages, in the sense, the letter we write and the way we pronounce the letter is one and the same. The sound and the letter is one and the same, right? So if I say then you write the letter then you pronounce it as in the same way, when you see this letter in a word, amma, mother. So when you say amma, amma is amma, right? Then if you read any letter for that, any sentence or word in Tamil language, you don't go for phonemes. No, you need not be bothered about whether how to combine these sounds and produce this sound. For instance, a cough, C-O-U-G-H, we have to be bothered about GH. Whether in Tamil or in most Indian languages, we are not bothered about this kind of what is written and how it should be pronounced. We are not bothered about that. Why? Because in Indian languages, the letter and the sound almost are one and the same. The orthographic symbol and the sound it represents, they represent are one and the same. We are not bothered about this kind of a complication. Whereas when it comes to the English language, we have this problem. You write it in one way, but you pronounce it in another way. Most of the words, even some of the words are very common here, but the way they are written and the way they're pronounced are different. So when it comes to English language, you have layers of letters and symbols. For instance, you have a series of letters, 26 letters. Then you underneath, it's kind of an undercurrent one. Underneath you have 44 sounds. Sometimes they're combinations, sometimes they stand solo. So now that's the focus today, the phonology of British English. I'm also telling you, I'm not focusing on American English or any other English. I'm only focusing on the phonology of British English, 44. Whereas when it comes to American, that's a different story. We are not discussing that today, right? And most of the time, the Indian Academy focuses on British English, not American English. So when I say phonology, phonology refers to the study of speech sounds. So this is a speech sound, F or E These are speech sounds or phonemes, other words. So phonemes are speech sounds, simple, right? So in British English, we have 44 phonemes, and phonology refers to study of speech sounds in a particular language like English, or within that you have British English. So that is phonology. So you have 44, 24 consonants and 20 vowels. Okay. So let me ask you a question. So if you want to understand this complexity, you have this Irish man who mocked this kind of complexity, but that is the characteristic feature of the English language. This person coined this word called GHOTI, and he wants us to pronounce this word like what? GHOTI. How do you pronounce this word which he coined? He's an Irishman who won the Nobel Prize, known for his most of his plays are interesting, and one of the plays consists of the Chocolate Cream Soldier. Who is that person and how the word is pronounced? Anyone? It's easy to name the person. Any guess? Okay, then it's Bernard Shaw. So Bernard Shaw came up with this word GHOTI. We are expected to pronounce, we think we can pronounce it as Goti, GHOTI, Goti. But Bernard Shaw said, or we are told Bernard Shaw coined this word, it should be pronounced fish, GHOTI. So actually he was mocking at this kind of complexity. So Goti, yes, we have Bernard Shaw here. So Bernard Shaw said GHOTI should be pronounced fish. Why? Look at the cough, COUGH. Here the GH is pronounced F, right? So we got F. Then next word, Goti, GHO. Look at the word women. The word women, look at the word letter O. It is pronounced E. So we got E, right? GHO. So FI. Then how do you pronounce this letter? NATION. Nation, right? The last end you pronounce it as sh. NATION, nation. So now you pronounce the combination TI as sh. So you have fish. GHOTI. Goti. GH comes from enough or cough. Then O like women, E sound. Then nation, sh. So he said, hereafter you pronounce Goti, GHOTI, and pronounce it as fish. So if you understand this kind of taking at a dig at the English language, you will understand the layers, the letters and the phonemes. Okay, we'll go to the class proper. First, consonants, 24. So what are consonants? Generally, they are speech sounds. When you pronounce these sounds, or when you make these sounds, you stop the flow of air from your lungs, right? How do you pronounce sounds? And how do you produce sounds? From your, the air from your lungs, it goes through your mouth, and you expel that air, puff of air, through your mouth or through your nose. If you block that completely or partially, you produce consonants. That's how you produce. So simply put, consonants, you produce these speech sounds by completely or partially stopping the flow of air from the lungs. So example, first one under consonants, plosives. What are plosives? That the name itself says. It comes from explosive. Plosive. So look at this first phoneme. When I pronounce this word, there is a lot of power in it. What you do, look at the screen, the picture on the screen. First, you bring your two lips together, right? Then you block the entire air from your lungs. Then you release it in a puff, like an explosion, then the sound is pronounced. Maybe you can try it out. But that is, you need energy to pronounce this sound, pronounce it like an Englishman or English woman. So you have P. So if you understand this sound, I mean phoneme, so it is pronounced, you are producing this sound by blocking the entire air, air pressure. You build an air pressure behind your mouth, lips, then you release it all of a sudden, then it comes up like an explosion. So if you produce sounds like this, they are called plosives. Okay, so these are plosives. They are sounds made when the air pressure behind a complete closure is suddenly released like an explosion. You produce it. Like now we'll go for, so you have plosives, you have 8 plosives in English. First one, pa as in pin. Then next sound, b as in bad. Next, ta as in tell. Next, d as in dip. Next, ka as in kin. Next, g as in gun. So all these things, you block the air and you produce it like an explosion. Right? So you have pa, ba, ta, da, ka, g. So these are plosives. And plosives are sometimes called stops. Why they are called stops? Because you make a complete closure in your vocal tract. Vocal tract refers to the mouth, the passage. You completely block the air, complete closure, then you release the sound. So if you, that kind of a sound is also called stops. So all the plosives are stops. They are a broad category under which you can bring plosives. So all the plosive sounds are stops. Okay, so before I proceed, just a word of caution. I'm not going to pronounce all the 44 phonemes as they should be pronounced by like the original way it should be pronounced. I'm altering a few of the things just for your understanding, because some of the sounds are so abstract. I'm not going for the abstract sounds, because of all the phonemes are abstract sounds. So I'm altering a few way how they should be pronounced. I'm just altering the original one. I'm just making it clearer for your understanding. So for the original pronunciation, I'm also giving you links at the end of this video. You can look at them. Anyway, I'm not altering very drastically, but for your understanding. Okay, so here I didn't alter anything, but next I will be altering a few sounds, not the original way I'm pronouncing. I'm not pronouncing them in an original way. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, before we proceed, plosives, you have 8. Pa, ba, ta, da, ka, ga. Fine. Shall we move on? Because this is where we have to choose. Shall we move on? And this is the first part. Then we'll proceed. If you have any doubt, ask now. If you have any confusion between.
Sir, one doubt. You said that plosives are 8, no? But you're 6.
Sorry, 6. Sorry. Numerical amnesia. Just 6. Sorry. You have only 6. Sometimes I see something. See, it's like phoneme. Letters. You see some letters, you pronounce in a different way. I saw something, I am telling something else. Okay, there are only 6. Sorry. Okay, so you have 6 plosives. P, B, T, D, K, G. Now I'm clear. See, that's what I got lowest mark in at mathematics. Next one. Now the puzzle is solved. Why I got the lowest mark at school. Next, fricatives. So fricatives are a different sounds. These sounds, how do you make? You bring the 2 articulators together. For instance, like f. This phoneme already. So f. How do you pronounce? If you look at the picture there, the teeth, the front teeth and the lower lip. You bring these 2 articulators together, right? F. Then the air passes between these 2 articulators, and when they pass through these 2 articulators, they produce kind of a friction or orasal or orasal sound. Something you scratch together. 2 objects if you scratch. right? That is called kind of a friction, audible friction or urasal. So right, so that is called fricatives. So plosives kind of a kind of explosion. Fricatives kind of a friction. It creates a kind of a grip or kind of a scratching sound. So so upper teeth and lower lip, you bring it close together, very close. Sometimes you touch, and the air passes through between them. And while passing, they produce an audible friction, right? So now let us look at these sounds. So you have fricatives. F as in fan. Similar way you produce v. You have to bring your upper teeth and lower lip. V, van. V, fan, van. So similar way you produce these two sounds in a similar way, but slightly. So fan, upper teeth and lower lip. F, next van. Next one is the, as you bring your tip of the tongue to your to the upper lip, upper teeth, behind the upper teeth. So you say the. This is a different sound. Don't think of the colloquial the in Tamil. That has some derogatory meaning in Chennai and Tamil Nadu. So that's a different sound. So this is a different sound. The, I mean health. The as in health. The. Next, the. You just go back. Same. You bring the tip of the tongue, but kind of you touch behind that. The. This. Next. See, I'm altering few of the sounds for your understanding. These are the not the exact way they are pronounced. For instance, next sound, that's how they are pronounced. I'm not pronouncing it that way. I'm pronouncing it kind of not abstract way. So I pronounce it as sip, sip. But originally it is pronounced. That's kind of an error. You cannot understand that. So you may understand that, but I'm altering for my own purpose. Next one. Z, zip, z, zip. Next one, sh, ship. Next one, j, measure. Next, ha, as in hut. So I pronounce it one more time, fricatives, which you produce by passing, let the air pass through two articulators. And while passing, they produce an audible friction. So first one, f, fan. V, van. The, health. The, this. S, sip. Z, ship. Zip. Sh, ship. J, measure. H, hut. So now let me pronounce only the phonemes. First one, f. Next one, v. Next one, the. Next one, the. Next one, s. Next one, z. Next, sh. Next one, j. Next one, h. Okay, these are all fricatives. Next we go for affricates. What are affricates? It's the middle one, it's a combination, right? So if you look at the symbol, you have, it's a combination of two. If you look at it, first one is more plosive, t sound. Then you have, sh as in ship. So that is t as in tin. So you bring it together. Similar way you have d and j. So you bring both together, you produce affricatives. So when you produce this, what happens? You gradually release. It's not an explosion. You suddenly release all the sounds. Or fricatives, you let the air pass through articulators. Then what is affricates? If you look at the word affricates, so it includes fricative sound or a kind of a friction, but not a complete closure. Complete closure, but you gradually release. There is a complete closure. For instance, ch as in chin, it's like a stop. You completely block the air, but unlike plosives, you gradually release the sound. That's the difference between plosives and affricates. You block, complete closure is there, but the release of this air is very gradual, right? So look at this picture. So you bring, you block, you look at this tongue, it goes up toward the roof of the mouth. then you block the air, then you gradually release the sound. Ch. Next one, j. So ch as in chin, next j as in jet. So chin, then jet. So simply ch and j. Fine. So these are affricates. So here the release of the air is very gradual. It's not fast. All right. So you have chin, jet. So ch, j. Nasal is very easy. Instead of letting the air pass through the mouth passage, oral cavity, so you let it pass through nose, the nasal cavity. Right. Look at the picture there. But in this, you also have to be aware of the lips. So, for instance, to pronounce this sound, ma, see the way it is pronounced is different. I am altering this sound. Ma. So, two lips are involved. You bring it together. Ma. Then the air passes through the nose. Ma, mat. Next, nasal. Na, nut. Next, ing, wing. So, if you know Tamil, it's like ing, ik, ing. Almost that sound. Ng, wing. So like ma, na, ng, or ng. I'm altering that sound. So ma as in mat, na as in nut, ng as in wing. Right. So these are nasal sounds. They are produced when the velum. If you look at the picture at the end, you have a kind of an appendage hanging, right? So that is lowered. Then you let the air pass through the nose and kind of an audible release of air through the nose. So these are nasals. Ma, na, ng. Okay, I'm pronouncing in a different way, but pardon me. Next one. Next one, you have lateral and drill. What is lateral? Lateral, you close, you block the air, but you let the air pass on both sides of the tongue. So just pronounce this l. So when you pronounce this, if you look at the picture, the air passes on both sides of the tongue. So on the left side as well as on the right side. So you block left side and right side. Both the side it tries to escape, middle you block. Right? Sounds produced when the air escapes around one or both sides of a closure made in the mouth. So you have l as in leg. So when you pronounce this, the air passes or escapes. You're not letting it out. It escapes on its own. So that is l as in leg. See, we know all these sounds, how they are made. These are some technical terms, that's all. So don't bother about this. Next one, drill. You know, right? And in functions, there is a kind of a drumming, drill, tuck, tuck, tuck. So kind of a rapid sound, like a beat. But you go for this kind of sound, kind of a drill. Sound produced by a single rapid contact between two articulators. Look at this, red, red. So you go towards the roof of the mouth and you bring it down fast. Very rapid touch or contact between these two articulators. That's all. You take it to the roof of the mouth and touch this alveolar and you bring it back fast. As in red. Okay. So one is lateral, l. Next, drill, r. I have to address this. There are some differences. So, in order to represent this letter R, when it comes to phoneme, there are different ways it is pronounced. One, drill, rapid tapping, fast. One articulator touching the another articulator, very quick. For instance, ray, run, very quick. Ray, run, right? Next, rhotic. Rhotic is peculiar to American English. Very peculiar. When you say American English, this is rhotic is a characteristic feature of the American English. In American English, this sound generally they are pronounced before consonants. For instance, in British, we don't pronounce the final R and the middle R sometimes. For instance, mart, you don't say mart or hard. British, the way you pronounce is hard. It's very hard. But American, they pronounce this middle R. Even Indian, we pronounce this R, like in Tamil or in the influence of the Indian languages. So you say mart, you say hard. So if you pronounce this R sound, mart, hard. So if you pronounce this R before the consonants and the end of the word, then this is a characteristic feature of the American English. So you have car, var, you pronounce this R, whereas in British is a ka, wa. So you don't pronounce the final R, that sound, r. So if you pronounce this r sound before consonants, that is rhotic, and that is a characteristic feature of American English. Sometimes you can't say is a nationalistic, it has that national characteristic. There are certain accents within British English, they also pronounce this way. Next, you have retroflex. It is easy for us to understand this sound, retroflex. You flux, flux your muzzle. So you flux your tongue backward. You curl. The tip of the tongue, you curl back. Very easy. If you in most Indian languages, we have the sound. And particularly Tamil and Malayalam, if you look at it, in Tamil and Malayalam, you have this ra. You have to curl your tongue almost extreme to the back. For instance, the word Tamil itself, Tamil, ra, you have to curl your tongue, ra, ra. Very tough sound. I had a tough job during my school days. So ra. And most of people from Thuthukudi, they don't pronounce this ra. It is pronounced as la. So my roots, Thuthukudi. So we don't pronounce this often. Maybe people from Thuthukudi may speak against me. But most of them agree with me because we don't pronounce this Tamil, but that sound is there. The tip of the tongue, you have to curl it back against the part of the palate. Okay, you have to go back. Ra, ra. So if you curl your tongue, so that is represented. So you have a symbol here. Look at this. That is the retroflex tap. Ra. You have to curl the ra. This sound is not available in English, but it is there. Generally it is pronounced. So you have IPA. Can someone expand that? IPA? What is an IPA symbol or IPA transcription?
International Pronunciation Association.
Okay. International Phonetic Alphabet. Now we are sticking with the alphabet. International Phonetic Alphabet. So there's a difference between phonology and phonetics. So phonology, study of speech sounds of a particular language. You study British English or Tamil or Malayalam, you go on down, particular language, right? And the sounds used in those languages, particular language, used in a particular language. So that is phonology, study of speech sounds of a particular language. You study all the sounds there. When it comes to phonetics, it's a broad category, how sounds are generally made. Almost all the sounds. They also study the Tamil sound r. So the characteristic feature of this peculiar sound that is peculiar to Tamil and Malayalam are retroflex. You have to curl the tongue back, right? So these are the difference between the letter r. The letter r, it has a different, the way it is pronounced, the phoneme, drill, rapid contact, ray, run, or you pronounce it after the consonants, mart, or you just curl back. You kind of curl back. So these are some of the nuances. I don't think the questions will come from here, but just want to let you know. Next, we are finishing off with the consonants. So you have semi-vowel. What is a semi-vowel? We will discuss semi-vowel in a few minutes, but the way they are pronounced is more like a vowel, but the function is consonant. I will explain this in a few minutes, but let's pronounce this. So you have two semi-vowels. One, v, as if you form a O sound, I mean the shape of letter O with your mouth, as if you are kissing someone, right? You form a O with your lips. You bring a O with your lips, O, as if you are going to kiss someone. So O, So you bring O, then you pronounce this W as in win, win. So it's different from the sound fricative V. There you bite your lip, right? Upper teeth and lower lip, V. But this is different. It's kind of a lip rounding, V. It's not V. V sound, you bite your lip. Here you round your lips, right? So that's the difference on fricative V. Here it is V as in win, right? Which. So the moment you are aware of this, most of our pronunciation will change. Okay, win. So full lip rounding, you form a O with your lips, then you bring your tongue almost to the top. So you have win. Do not worry. There are videos. I will be giving few references at the end of this class where you can go and graphically see how these sounds are produced. So do not worry. I'm giving around 6 or 7 links. You go and check them out. So they use graphics, how all the 44 phonemes are pronounced. So you will have no difficulty understanding this. Just at this point of time, just listen to it and we have a broad understanding of phonemes. Next, yeah. So look at the picture there. That is a kind of, you bring it top and back. Yeah, as in yet. Yeah, yeah, right? So you have two semivowels, wa and yeah. So these are two semivowels. Okay, so now we are moving from consonants to vowels. So do not worry, we will revise all these sounds by and by. I'm not ditching you at this point of time. We will come back to consonants few moments later. We will go to vowels. So what is the difference between vowels and consonants? So consonants, you block the air partially or completely. When it comes to vowels, you do not block the air from your lung. You let it go, no obstruction. And you can pronounce these sounds as long as you can hold your breath. Right? So these are vowels, 20 sounds. So number one. So you have two categories. One of them, single sound. For instance, they do not involve tongue movement. Tongue stable, they steady, same. Then you pronounce relatively same. For instance, first sound E or smile பண்ற மாதிரி E, you smile, ஒரு smile ஒருத்தர் பார்த்து ரொம்ப சின்னதா smile பண்ற மாதிரி E, அவ்வளவுதான். Hit, E as in hit, அவ்வளவுதான். So if the same sound comes at the end of the letter, இப்போ happy இருக்கு, if you have happy கடைசில Y sound, right? The same sound, if that sound comes at the end of the letter, sorry, end of the word, you can use this symbol, kind of a small letter I. That is kind of a capital I, right? So this is the difference. Sometimes people use this, don't get confused. The first one, the capital form, E, it comes in the middle or in the beginning, hit. Whereas if the E sound comes at the end, then you can use this symbol, small I, happy, right? So that's the difference. So some people interchangeably use this, no problem at all. But anyway, you just get to know this difference. Next one, you expand or lengthen the sound. So whenever you have a colon symbol beside the letter, you have to just prolong it. E as in heat, hit, heat. Next, A, get. Sometimes these days they also go for another symbol like inverted 3, the other ways around. So that symbol can also be used to represent this sound. A as in get. Next, A as if you're vomiting. A, gap. You can also use this symbol, but I'm more sticking with the conventional symbols, left side. But I also want to let you know these symbols are also used, right? So the first part, E as if you are smiling. E. Next, E. Maybe that's the meaning, I guess, here. E. E. Next. A. Next. A. The next three sounds are a bit tough, but interesting. Next one, think of your chin. Unga chin வந்து கொஞ்சம் கீழே turn. முகக்கட்டையா. You have to bring it down. As in about. Your chin கொஞ்சம் அப்படியே lower பண்ணும். அப்படியே கொஞ்சம் கீழே எடுத்துட்டு வர மாதிரி இருக்கும் இந்த sound pronounce பண்றப்போ. When you pronounce this sound, you bring your chin slightly down. Right? As in about. Same sound, if you prolong, then that's the next sound. As in urban, girl. Right? So first one, next one, you prolong it, that's all. Next one is almost like R sound, but look at that symbol. You open your mouth and shut it very fast. Open one button close pannu. Maybe that's a symbol it represents. You know, the symbol represents kind of a mouth. You open it and shut it fast. That's all. As in run. You open it and close it fast, and you pronounce the sound over. Run. Okay. So let me pronounce this once again. E. E. A. A. Next. Then A. Okay. These are monophthongs, single letters. Vowels which do not involve tongue movement, and the tongue is relatively steady and stays almost in the same position. Again, continuation. So you have oo. Now, if you look at the picture there, most of the sounds are back. You know, you have to use back of the tongue. So you have oo. So when you pronounce this sound, you can feel that the tongue curls backward, or goes backward. Say oo. Ooh, easy sound. Most languages have this sound. Ooh, put. Next, you lengthen the sound. So when you lengthen, you can see that symbol there, colon. Ooh, fool. Next sound, sound, you prolong it. Father, part. No lip rounding. Remember this sound very carefully. There is no lip rounding. Lip round panna mattinga. It stays the same. Father, part. Next one, upper lip. You just slightly round your upper lip. Upper lip mattum konjam valaipinga. Got, pot. Upper lip mattum konjam, it forms a kind of an arc, small arc. Upper lip. Got, pot. Next is almost like a kissing. Almost. With your two lips, you form a kind of a O shape. Even look at the symbol. The symbol is like that, and you prolong it, like prawn, port. So you form kind of O, and you pronounce O sound, and you prolong it. That is that. So I pronounce it once again. So first sound, oo. Next, oo. Next. Next, next, that's all. So do not worry, we will come back to these phonemes again and again throughout this lecture, so don't bother. So we have another interesting feature. This is the essence, most used phoneme in the English language. It's called schwa vowel. Look at this, almost like E inverted downwards. So you have schwa vowel. This sound is the most commonly used vowel in the English language. And you don't need so much force, but you stay almost very quiet. Look at this. Let me pronounce. We have already pronounced this, but I'm just drawing your attention to this sound. It can come in the beginning or in the middle or the end, right? Look at this, mother. Most of the time it appears in unstressed syllables. For instance, look at the word mother, amma, mother. The second syllable you have the. In British, you don't pronounce the final R unless it is followed by a vowel. So you have the sound. The last sound is actually schwa. It's very, very meek. Mother, mother, mother. You always think of your chin. You actually slightly bring your chin down. Mother, right? Same way you have aga, enemy, or water. Right? I'm just drawing your attention to this sound. This sound can be discussed for more than half an hour or not, but we are not focusing on this sound today. Next, you have diphthongs. As you know, di means two. It's a combination of two vowels. Rendu vowel சேர்த்து போட்ட மாதிரி இருக்கும். Then tongue movement. Tongue position, you move from one sound to another sound. Look at the picture there. You know, one position, you start the sound from one position, you end it in somewhere else. When it comes to monophthongs, single sound, no tongue movement. Almost stays the same. You have it's a combination of two vowels and there is a gliding movement. Then you start from one and you slightly go there, glide, and you finish that. So let's pronounce. You have oi, o, then e. So first you pronounce o, then you pronounce e. So you are moving from one position to another position, and you can see it on the picture there. Oi, backward, back, from back you bringing to the front. அங்க பின்னாடி இருந்து முன்னாடி அப்படியே glide, அப்படியே மெதுவா அப்படியே வருது. Oi, right? Oi. So oi, toy, a, say, I, bite. And you can understand this. Most Indian people, we do not pronounce diphthongs properly. When we speak English, we do not pronounce the diphthongs properly. By, say. We don't say or day, today, day, Monday. We don't say a, we say a, say. But you should be aware this is a diphthong sound. So if you are aware of this, your English will differ the way you pronounce once you pronounce these diphthongs. We Indians, we generally, normally, we pronounce this sound as if it's not a diphthong, as if it's a monophthong. You pronounce it as a, say, he say, he says, he says. So if you have to stress it, so that is a kind of an involvement. So first sound, first group, oi, a, I is easy. Next, ear, e, then a sound, ear, near. Next, a. So first you sound a, a, then you have that chin sound, air, or simply pronounce the sound, the word air, air. Don't pronounce the r sound, then you pronounce it hair or air, a, then air. Next, uva, u sound, then a sound, uva, poor. Similarly, you pronounce tour. You don't say tour, tour. That's a typical Indian way of pronouncing that word, and Tamil way of pronouncing that word. Tour is English. Tour, as in uva, poor, tour. But tour polama. So that's our way of pronouncing, but it's a diphthong. So you have uva, poor, tour. Okay. So this set you have ear, air, uva. Next is a very unique sound. Only few people can pronounce. I don't know. I'm perfect in that, but my master, Mr. Professor Sivasubramanian, he pronounced it very beautifully. Presidency College. Ow, cow. You know, he pronounced that single word go. We pronounce it as go. You know, in Indian way of pronunciation, but he pronounced it very beautifully. Ga. I want to go. You know, this is not go. This is Indian way of pronouncing that as the word go. But if you know, that is more of a schwa vowel, right? Then u, ga. Next, au, now, au, now. Okay. So let me pronounce all this sound one more time. Oi, a, I, ear, a, ooh, ow, ow. Do not worry, we will come back to all these sounds again and again, and also giving you links where you can graphically see how they are made. So don't bother, just will stay with me. So the first part is over. We just looked at or listened to how 44 phonemes in the English language are pronounced and how some of the categories there. Now we are moving to the second part. This is more phonetics, how generally sounds are made, on the parts involved, the physics involved, the air system involved, tongue movement or lip or teeth, all the parts involved. If you study all these things, this is more phonetics. So that's the difference between phonetics and phonology. Phonetics is a broader category. You know how sounds are made and perceived, understood. So that's a different category. Phonetics. Phonology, it studies speech sounds in a particular language. That's why we call it the phonology of English language, or the phonology of American English. Sorry, the phonology of British English, phonology of American English. You can say phonology of Tamil. So we discuss only the sounds in the Tamil language. Okay. Part 2, we are moving from one side to the next one. The production of speech sounds. How they are produced. Eppadi produce பண்றாங்க. So first one you should know is, as you know, Airstream mechanism. As I told you, most of the time, most languages, you just let the air outward. உங்க லங்ஸ்ல இருந்து அப்படியே காத்து வருது, you just let it go outwards, right? You look at the small picture there. கீழ இருந்து காத்து வருது, you know, right? Lungs, from your lungs, the air travels upward, you let it go, right? So this kind of mechanism is called pulmonic egressive. Egressive means exit, go out. Egressive. Ingressive means you go in, you know, take it in. So this is the famous Airstream mechanism, pulmonic egressive, you know, letting the air out. And the word pulmo is Latin means a lung. So the air from the lungs are let out. But you can ask, is it possible, you know, there is another mechanism? Definitely, if there is one mechanism called pulmonic aggressive, definitely there must be an opposite one, pulmonic ingressive, you know, inward. I'm not aware of African languages or something. There people say you have this inward sound, you know, you take air in and you produce the sound. But I can give examples from everyday life. So think of the situation. There is a rock, heavy. You have to lift that rock and அப்படியே பாறையை தூக்கணும். What do you do? Or any heavy object for that matter. ரொம்ப heavier இருக்கு, maybe a bundle. First thing you do, you just go pick it up. You just hold your breath. You go inward. You know, dum பிடிக்கிறது. You know, you just hold and you let the air go inward. வெளிய அனுப்புறது இல்லையா காத்து. When you lift an object, it's actually pulmonic ingressive. Air goes inward. Only then, you know, could you lift that heavy object, or else not? It's actually physical. It's bodily, and the mechanism bodily. So that's where you produce this sound. You know, this sound you have to produce. I don't know whether any language use this sound in their sound system, but this sound you produce by lifting the object, and the object தூக்குறப்போ தம் பிடிச்சு தூக்கணும். You know, this sound maybe you can discuss this sound phonetically, and this is a sound. It's called pulmonic ingressive. The mechanism is ingressive, not aggressive. வெளிய அனுப்பல, உள்ள காத்தை இழுக்கணும். The same sound, you also make this sound when women give child, you know, when they go for delivery, when they are in labor, they have to push the baby out, right? So when women in labor, when they push the baby out, குழந்தை வெளியே அனுப்பணும் அப்படிங்கிறப்ப வந்து they have to, இதே மாதிரி you have to, you know, you have to push it down. Even this is one way. Or normally sometimes you have constipation or some other problem with your stomach, there also you go for this pulmonic ingressive. You know, it's morning, right? So this is pulmonic ingressive. we are not talking about, but these are all phonetics. எப்படி இந்த சவுண்டை உருவாக்குறோம் அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி. And look at this picture. Beware of all these technical terms. You have vocal cords at the bottom. இங்க இருக்கும் you have an Adam's apple, min mostly. So you have the vocal cords there. Adha vandu controls. It controls the sound. Then you have go up. You have uvula. It's a beautiful word. Uvula. It's an appendage. Kannadila. If you look at open your mouth and look into it through the mirror. In the mirror, you see that kind of an appendage hanging. Pinnadi thongra mari or chinna sada. And that is uvula. Adukapra tongue, everyone knows, and that passage oral cavity. Then mal abdi thottu pathina, if you feel your upper part, I mean the roof of your mouth, before uvula kind of a softer, very soft. You can feel it now. You bring your tongue and touch there towards the end, very soft. Then just bring it forward, very hard. That's called hard palate. That one is soft palate. அப்படி கொஞ்சம் முன்னாடி எடுத்துருந்தீங்கன்னா, if you another forward, so you have a ridges. தடுப்பா இருக்க மாதிரி சின்னதா, very small, right? Ridges, alveolar ridge. The teeth க்கு மேல சின்ன பொடியா இருக்கும், very small, right? So that is alveolar ridge. Then you have lips and teeth. So these are the essential vocabulary you should know and the concept you need. Okay. So look at the screen. You have lips, teeth, then teeth ridge or alveolar ridge. Then you have hard palate, soft palate, uvula. Then you have pharynx, then vocal cords or larynx. It comes there. Even tongue, you have different parts. Okay. So what are active articulators which you can move? Generally, when you pronounce or sound pronounce first lips and tongue, you can move fast, right? Mostly lower lip and tongue. Adu romba asaipom or sound pronounce panna, lower lip and the tongue. Passive, most of the time we can't move actually. Then upper lip slightly, the upper lip, teeth, the roof of the mouth and pharynx. You don't move it. Very passive. They stay the same. So these are active articulators, passive articulators. See, don't be frightened by all these terms. Some of you might have already done a course on phonology. You must be already aware of all these terms. So don't bother. Just listen to it. You can listen to this lecture again and again. And there are also videos you can listen to them in detail. Okay. So some technical terms. So that ridge and the palluku mela pathina konja chinna sadaya irukum, pudi and behind the teeth you have that kind of a small ridges. So they are called alveolar ridge. Technically we need this adjective alveolar. Then and you go beyond that, konja hard, konja kattiya mela odu mari. So that is hard palate, palatal. You go beyond that, konja soft sada. So soft palate, velum, so velar adjective. Then pinadi and the uvula adjective. Then again you can classify the tongue. Tip, mona, nunni nakliya, tip, konjam minadi, blade, then the pattaya irukadhu, front, then the body, back and root. Veroda pudingalama. Okay, so these are some of the terms you should know. Okay. Next. Why I'm discussing all these things, if you can't understand this, we can't classify the 44 phonemes. Pinadi we have to classify. So in order to do that, we are doing this. So first structure, the distance between active and passive articulator. Active you have upper lip, tongue, passive, roof of the mouth. So the distance between these two, idu renduku edapatta gap irukku illaya, adu evlo dooram irukku. Technically this distance is called a structure. So when it comes to vowels are pronounced பண்றப்போ open approximation. ஏன்னா என்ன பண்றீங்க, you don't block the air. நான் vowels முதல்ல சொன்னேன், vowels வந்து you don't block the air, அப்படியே போவிட்டுறது. You let the air go. The articulators are wide apart and the air flows out unhindered. And another feature is that the vowel sound can be kept producing until one runs out of breath. எவ்வளவு தூரம் தம் பிடிக்க முடியுமோ, I mean எவ்வளவு தூரம் காத்து இருக்கோ, you can pronounce this. For instance, look at this E or E sound. As long as you can hold your your breath, you can have your breath, you can keep producing this. For instance, E. Maybe I do not have good lung. So if you have a lot of breath, as long as you can have that breath, you can keep producing the sound. You know, you are not blocking the sound. Vowel, that's the main feature. That is open approximation. And the distance between our active and passive, you are not bothering about it. You don't stop. Let it go. Right? It's called the structure. The structure for vowels are open approximation. Is open approximation. Then you have consonants. Consonants, generally, I told you, consonants you block the air partially or completely. கொஞ்சம் தடை பண்ணுவீங்க இல்ல முழுமையா தடை பண்ணிரணும் அந்த காத்தை. So if you block it completely, then it's called complete closure. As I told you, the b sound பாருங்க, ரெண்டு லிப்பையும் வந்து அப்படியே வந்து you block the air. You bring two lips together, you press together. You bring your two lips together, then you release the air. It's an explosive, right? It's an explosive sound. So explosion. So you have to so you have to bring it and fast. So it's a complete closure. Vowel kadiyadu. Then you have close approximation. I mean, full press panana avasiyam kadiyadu. You bring it close, very close. Sometimes don't touch, but you very close. For instance, but not a complete closure. Like the fricative, you have the upper lip, upper teeth, and you have lower lip. Kitta on the correct. So these are some technical terms you should know. So you have structure, the distance between active and passive articulators. I hope you understand. Vowels, open. You don't block at all. Open approximation. Consonants, complete closure or close approximation. There is something called approximant. Simple. It's also called frictionless continuant. Friction and the uraivu irukadu. Frictionless, no audible friction, right? Then continuant, you already know vowel or feature continuant. You can produce this sound as long as you have breath. Continuous produce panna. You can keep producing that sound. So it is called continuant. Frictionless, there is no friction. Fricatives mari friction irukadu, uraivu irukadu. So frictionless continuant. So simply put, all vowels are frictionless continuants. You can keep producing that sound. Adanalu continuant. And you don't produce friction. I mean, the audible friction is not there. Similar way, semi-vowels are frictionless continuant. Then the consonant lateral, then rhotic are frictionless continuants. Okay. Another important feature. I told you the vocal cord. Yeah. When you pronounce certain sounds, they produce kind of a vibration. Certain they don't vibrate, and the vocal cord vibrate. So voiceless sounds refers to they are produced when the vocal cords do not vibrate, right? And you use the simple minus. You use that minus sign to represent that phoneme, a voiceless phoneme, like vibration. You just touch your neck, feel it. There is nothing, not prominent. Vibration kadiyadu. Whereas next to one, there is vibration. So when you pronounce this sound, you have a kind of vibration there. So you say plus sign. So that plus sign represents voiced, and the vocal cords vibrate represent pandradhu. So voiceless, the vocal cords do not vibrate. Voiced, the vocal cords vibrate. Right? Okay. We are almost closing off the second session. What is articulation? Articulation is how you pronounce simply put. How do you pronounce? The physical movements involved in altering the flow of air to produce speech sounds. So move or the tongue involved or the pons involved. So first, manner. How? When you say manner of articulation, we have already discussed all these things, right? Plosives, so you block the air, you let it go like and you produce kind of an explosive sound. Fricatives, it's a kind of a middle one between plosives, and you gradually release the sound. Fricatives, there is a friction. Nasal, you have a kind of through the nose, you let it go. Lateral, both the side of the tongue or one side of the tongue, you release the air. Rhotic or orbital, there is a difference, but rapid touch, or you pronounce it after a consonant. Semi-vowel we'll discuss, don't worry. Frictionless, we discussed just now. No friction, and you can keep producing that. So it's the how, eppadi. We have looked at all these things. So don't worry. Place, we also know. Eppadi, I mean, the parts are involved. What are the parts involved? For instance, bilabial na bi na two, labial na lips, bilabial na rend lips. If you use two lips prominently to produce a sound, for instance, ma, in order to pronounce a sound, ma, na, only ma and pa, ba. If you, for three sounds, pa, ba, ma, rend lip use pandrom, bilabial, two lips. Labiodental, similar way, labio no, you have lips, then dental, teeth, like fa, va, upper teeth and lower lip. So இது மாதிரி. So dental la verum palla, dental. Alveolar na பின்னாடி அந்த ridge போய் தொடருது. அதுக்கு பின்னாடி கொஞ்சம் immediately post alveolar, it's called palato-alveolar. அந்த palatal போய் டச் ஆகுது. Then you have palatal, then velar, glottal இங்க vocal cord la. Then labial velar, lips involved ஆகும், பின்னாடி வந்து வேலம் அது கொஞ்சம் உயர்த்துற மாதிரி இருக்கும். Okay, so this is manner of articulation and place of articulation. Okay, so this is the important part. Stay with me. This is where I am putting everything together. So stay with me, relax and be vibrant. This is where I am summing up whatever we have discussed. Is a kind of a crux. So stay with me, be alert. Syllable is, that's a significant part. Before that, difference between vowels, consonants and semi-vowels. So vowels, first one, open approximation. You don't block the air and you can keep producing that. That's open approximation structure. Okay, that is the first feature or features of the vowels. Vowel open approximation irukum. E abingrappo open irukum, you don't block the air and you let it go and you can keep producing that. Open approximation. Next, the quality of a vowel is that when you write, it forms a syllabic nucleus. Or a syllable, the nucleus, it forms syllabic nuclei. Don't worry, I will explain the next slide too. So that is the features of, these are the features of vowels. Consonants, complete closure or close approximation. One full close paneno, illana konja kitte varum. Ana when you write in a syllable, they don't form syllabic nucleus. Mayama irukadu. Either they come in the beginning or the end. Nadula mayama irukka mudiyadhu. Then semi-vowels, I told you, they are pronounced like vowels. Were, ear, block pandradilla. They are pronounced like vowels. Ana function vandu consonant mari. They don't form syllabic nuclei. Don't worry, I will explain this in detail in the next slide. So these are the characteristic features of vowels, consonants and semi-vowels. Syllable na enna? Simply put, a unit of pronunciation vachipom. So syllable la enna nalla irukum. One, you have the center, generally vowel. Nucleus of a syllable வந்து mostly vowel ah தான் இருக்கும். Exceptions இருக்கு, we will discuss that exception later. Then onset na beginning, முன்னாடி. So syllable oda first part can be a consonant or a semi-vowel. Even sometimes a vowel. Then you have coda. Coda na last, end. End வந்து consonant or semi-vowel. So let's discuss. So you have these examples. Look at this word, rabbit. Rabbit. So you have this phonemic transcription. See, there are two types of transcription. Phonemic, phonetic transcription where அது வேற class. இது வந்து அந்த particular systemல இருக்கிற sound மட்டும் pronounce பண்றது, right? Rabbit. So this is how you phonemically transcribe this word. Ra, a, e, t, rabbit. So you have two syllables. And first syllable you have only two, r and a. Appo onset, and the first irukradha onset ingra beginning. Adu vandu consonant ah irukku. Next, nucleus vandu a, vowel. Inga vandu no coda, pinnadi vandu edhum kediyadhu. Next syllable, second syllable pathina bit. So you have onset enna b, nucleus e, coda enna t, consonant, vowel, consonant. So now you can understand. So vowel nu sonna vowel open approximation, easier pronounce, you don't block the air, you let it go, and they form syllabic nucleus. This is a characteristic feature of vowel. Consonant பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் onset ஆ இருக்கும் இல்ல கோடா இருக்கும், அவ்வளவுதான். Now look at semi-vowel. Yes. So you have ear. That's a semi-vowel. Ear. Yes. So look at the function. They are pronounced like vowel. Vowel mari don't block the air. Right? And a function, they are not forming nucleus. They are forming onset or generally onset or coda. See, yeah, yes. So that's the semi-vowel. Almost consonant mari function. Onset of functional. Vowel vandu a vowel. Then yes, sa on the consonant. So this is the distinction, difference between vowel, consonant, semi-vowel. So you can always come back to this and listen to it. Okay, we finished off with the two toughest part. Then hereafter it's more like a cakewalk. You can just listen to me and you can finish it off. The classification of consonants and vowels. Simply put, the classification of 44 phonemes in the English language, British English. Okay, so in the first part we saw 44 phonemes, how they are pronounced and how they are categorized. Part 2, we switched to phonetics. How are the parts involved, right? Manner of articulation, place of articulation, then vocal cords. Now we are going to combine two. So using these categories and these technical terms, how are you going to classify vowels and consonants? First, consonants. So now you have everything on your screen, all the 24 consonants and the categorization. And manner of articulation, voicing. What is the manner of articulation? Manner of articulation, you know, how. Manner means how. Plosiva, eppadi oru vedikra mari pannuma, frictiona, illa or kind of a slight idva, illa nose valiyava. So we already know the manner of articulation. First part. So these are the manner of articulation. So you have 24 consonants and 22 plus 2, 22 semi-vowel 2. So you already know the manner of articulation. So you have the manner of articulation. Voicing easy. Voicing வந்து voiced or voiceless. Voicing vocal cords vibrate agada illiya. Whether the vocal cords they vibrate or do not vibrate. If they vibrate, you go for a plus sign. If they do not vibrate, you go for a minus sign. Right? Now it's very easy. I'll just take you through. Number 1, plosives. Manner of articulation, plosive. So listen to me. No voicing. I mean, the vocal cords are not vibrating, so minus sign. Voiceless, that's a voiceless sound. So now look at the logic. You can easily remember. Remember this order. You can easily remember this thing. See, if you, the beauty is voiceless, voiced, voiceless, voiced, voiceless, voiced. If you look at plosives, same. Fricatives, the same. Voiceless, voiced, voiceless, voiced. You see. Then again, affricates, again the same way. Voiceless, voiced. Rest of the thing are voiced. Simple. Right? Nasal, lateral, drill, semi-vowel, all are voiced. Ella vibrate agum. Vocal cords vibrate agum. Right? The only you have to be bothered about plosives, fricatives, and affricatives. Even there is a logic. If you remember this sound, if you list it properly, first is voiceless, second is voiced. And if you can't do that, you feel it when you pronounce. Touch your neck. Okay, the logic I think is quite good. Let me pronounce and we will go to the next slide. First one, plosives. Pa, ba, ta, da, ka, ga. See, now I think only six plosives. Thanks for your reminder. I thought it was 8. See, the problem with my mathematical mind. Next one, fricatives. Fa, va, ta, da, sa, za, sha, ja, ha. Next, affricates. Cha, ja. Next one, ma, na, ng. Next, lateral, la. Drill or rhotic or retro. So here we are focusing on drill. R. Next, semi-vowel, va, ya. Okay. So with this, we move on. This is the classification. I put it in such a way you can easily remember. Right? Place of articulation. See, we finished off with manner of articulation. Plosives, voicing. Then we have place of articulation. Easy. So do not memorize. you just pronounce the sound, you can easily remember. Look at this first one, bilabial, and bi means two, labial, two lips, upper lip, lower, upper and lower lip. One on the active articulator, another is a passive articulator. For instance, you have three consonants. Easier remember when you pronounce it is pa, pa, ma. You bring both your lips together and you press it together and press them together and you release the sound, right? So they involve two lips, lower lip and upper lip. One on the active, one on the passive. Easy. You need not memorize that. Bilabial, rendu lips irukku pogudu. Involvement irukku pogudu. So you have bilabial. Pa, ba, ma. Easy. Then labiodental, very easy. Similar way you have lower lip, upper teeth this time. Ha, va. That's all. So to not memorize these things, I mean, study this, then you'll automatically remember the way you, if you know how to pronounce this sound, you can feel it. They can easily classify labiodental, lips plus teeth. Fa, va, easy. Next, dental. The tip of the tongue, it touches the upper teeth slightly. So you say the. Next, alveolar. And the palluku pinnadi, behind the teeth you have kind of a ridge. So you have the tip at the anga poi thodradhu. Ta, da, sa, z, na, la, ra. Ella anga poi tak takku thodidu varum. Alveolar. Palato-alveolar or post-alveolar. Adukku pinnadi ponena konjam immediately behind, not on the hot palate poi thodala. Immediately behind that alveolar, and the kuti kuti, you just go slightly behind. So you have cha, ja, sha, ja, right? Konjam, you just slightly behind. Area immediately behind alveolar ridge. Cha, ja, sha, ja, right? Next, palatal. Anga poi thodano. Hot palate, hard or bone. You have the semi-vowel. Yeah. Romba thodadu kitta po. You take it near there. Yeah. Next, velar. Back tongue. Pinnadi irukka tongue vandu you raise it towards the velum. Anga pinnadi poi thodra mari irukum. Ka, ga, nga. Ka, ga, nga. So pinnadi, the tongue vandu pinnadi raise agum. Glottal mostly takes place in you have in a vocal cords. Ha. Then we come to a labial velar, sometimes bilabial. And so now you have lip rounding. The sound is very peculiar. Lip round at the same time you raise that velum towards back. See, look at this. So when you pronounce this sound, the lips are rounded, O-shaped. And the back of the tongue is raised towards the velum. Okay. So this is a classification. I hope it's very easy. Only thing is you have to remember this and see it again and again. I think you will crack it. Okay. Simply put, general classification of consonants. Generally, this is how a consonant is described. It's called three-term description or three-label description. First, you have to tell whether that consonant is voiceless or voiced. Vibrate agama agada. I mean, vocal cords, whether they vibrate or they do not vibrate. So you have to tell that first, voicing. Next, you have to tell the place of articulation, and then the parts involved. Next, manner, epidi, how. And only remember this order: voicing, place of articulation, manner of articulation. Easy, right? So first one, don't mug up. Please, just have get a hang of it. But no, it's not vibrating. So a voiceless, and two lips are involved, bilabial. Then it's an explosive sound. Explosion. It produces like an explosion. So the phoneme pa is a voiceless bilabial plosive. Right? Next one, va. There's a vibration, so it is voiced. Then lips and the upper lip and the lower lip and the teeth are involved. So labiodental. Then it is a fricative, kind of friction sound. So the phoneme va, a voiced labiodental fricative. Similar way, if you look at that, you have this cha, a voiceless palato-alveolar affricate. Next, a voiced velar nasal. Next, L, a voiced alveolar lateral. R, a voiced alveolar drill or rhotic. Then W, a voiced labial velar semivowel. E, a voiced palatal semivowel. Okay. Once you practice this, you will easily remember. Okay. Before we move to vowels, just I have to tell you some certain terms. Fortis and lenis. If you know French, as well as there is a word in English called forte, F-O-R-T-E, quota, right? Fort. You are aware of this word, fort, right? Fort, quota, F-O-R-T. In English, there is also a word called forte, F-O-R-T-E, forte, strength. If I say linguistics is my forte, so if you say linguistics is my forte, forte is the word comes from French. Forte means a strength. So you can easily understand that it needs strong degree of muscular effort. Effort there. So fortis. So you can easily remember that. Len is weak. So I hope you remember this. So fortis. So either a group of classification. It's a group of words. Fortis only a sound made with a relatively strong degree of muscular effort and breath force. Romba effort podano. Satta mari pesukura. Sometimes people pen, right? But you should be alive to pronounce this fortis. It needs effort. Pa, ta, fa, sa. It demands such a muscular effort. So it is fortis. Romba urudhiya. Len is weak degree of muscular effort and breath force. Ba, da, va, za. Right? So that's what I want to tell you. Next, we are going to almost reaching the end of this class. Before that, you have cardinal vowels. Cardinal vowels means it's of course it's an arbitrary set of universal, simply put, reference vowels. They do not belong to any languages, any language. They are just a kind of an abstract one. Okay, but it's a kind of a thought, abstract quality. This is a kind of a classification. It was devised by British phonetician Daniel Jones. When it comes to vowels, we have to pay tribute to this gentleman, Daniel Jones. He came up with this chart. It's a kind of a phonetic one. I mean, எல்லா language extreme end middle weaker. So he came up with a kind of an ideal understanding of vowels in general, not a particular language. So front எவ்வளவு தூரம் கூட்டி போவீங்க உங்க tongue, central எப்படி இருக்கும், backல எப்படி இருக்கும். He came up with this kind of reference vowels. If you in Tamil, so where are you going to place this sound? இது வந்து உங்களோட tongue position எந்த இடத்துல வைக்கலாம். So it's a broader category. So he came up with this. It needs different, it demands a separate study. We are not focusing on that today. But look at this chart. இது உங்க tongue மாதிரி இருக்கும். It looks like your tongue. So front part of the tongue, central part of the tongue, back part of the tongue, right? Top part, horizontal. Vertical, எவ்வளவு தூரம் எட்டு போறீங்க? The distance between the articulators. ரொம்ப close ஆ எட்டு போறீங்களா? Close mid or open mid or open. அப்படியே vowel மாதிரி open free ஆ எட்டு போறீங்களா? So there are also technical terms. Sometimes close க்கு பதிலா high, மேல கூட்டி போறீங்களா? Or open க்கு பதிலா low. Different terms, that's all. Okay. Simply put, in the vowel chart is based on combination of articulatory and auditory judgments. The base panni, he has come up with this. They do not, they are not vowels of any particular language. Endo language is only a reference point. But with this reference point, you can analyze any language. That's a claim. You should know. Okay. We are focusing on vowels now. Vowels எப்படி classify பண்றது? So when it comes to consonants, we have voicing, manner of articulation, place of articulation. Yeah. Similar way, you have to focus on voiced. I mean initially. Then you have length. I'm just talking about the features now. I'm not into classification now. First, voicing, no problem. All the vowels are voiced. Ella vibrate agum. E, ella kila chottu patta. All, when you pronounce all the vowels, the vocal cords vibrate. So all are voiced. So the prachana kediyadu. Then length, short or longer, easy. If you have this colon, it indicates it's a long vowel. So e, u, right? So that's over. Then lip rounding. Pronounce பண்றப்போ lips வந்து round இருக்கா இல்ல unrounded இருக்கா? So for instance, u, lip வந்து round இருக்கும். U. Unrounded, a, lip rounding கிடையாது. Very easy, right? Voicing, vowel length, and rounding. I'm just drawing your attention to the characteristic features. Then you should be aware of this. So this chart is based on Daniel Jones cardinal vowels. So look at this chart. I'm using this chart for vowels, only monophthongs. So this is how we categorize the monophthongs in English, British English. So look at this one. Please stay with me and study this chart very closely and almost imprint this chart in your mind so that you can classify all these sounds very easily. See, high, mid, low. Other height on the tongue on the எவ்வளவு தூரம், how up you take it, take the tongue up. For instance, ரொம்ப மேலையா, mid, lower. For அதே நேரம் வந்து which part, front part, central part, back. So that is a horizontal position. This is vertical. This is the tongue. So just see this. E. Tongue part and the front part. And the tip on the you use it and you raise it to the top. E. It goes to the top. E. If you look at the back part on the raise out. So if you know this, then you can easily classify this one. Next, A, then A, or the middle one, then A. You just remember this. Here you have O, or here A, then O. Just remember this chart. You can easily crack it. So vowel height, the distance between the articulators, tongue ko roof of the mouth ko, higher, mid, lower. Or simply put, if you want to remember, it's kind of manner of articulation. Eppadi pronounce பண்றாங்க, how. And something called backness. Which part? எந்த part வந்து highest இருக்கு? Front part, central part, back part. If you want understand easily, it's a place of articulation. எந்த part? Front part, central part, back part. Okay. So with this, we are almost on the verge of finishing today's class. So this is the classification of monophthongs. See, look at the symbols here. You have 12 monophthongs. Length romba easy, longer, shorter. You need not memorize. So if you have this colon, it's a long one. E, long. E, short. A, short. A, short. A, short. Long. A, short. U, long. U, short. U, long. O, short. A, long. Very easy. Next, vowel height, backness, and rounding. Same way, you just remember this chart. If you want to see it again, you just remember this. Study this for a minute, a few seconds. You just imprint this on your mind. You have E here, U there, A here, A here, and O. This O here and this one. So if you remember this, you can easily remember the backness, front, central, back, in this order. Then rounding is very easy. Only four sounds are rounded. All the others are unrounded. You have U, O, then O. All the others are rounded. So what I'm saying, do not memorize. You easily get. Then vowel height, higher, mid, lower, mid, or low, mid. So you can come back to this slide again and again. It will be shared with you, so no problem. So this is a general classification of vowels. First, vowel height is solano. Next, backness. Then lip rounding. So first, E, high, high, front part of the tongue is involved. I mean, height. High, front, unrounded vowel. A, mid, front, unrounded vowel. A mid, central, and unrounded vowel. Then a low, mid, central, unrounded vowel. Just compare the chart, you will easily you'll understand this classification. Then U, high, pinnadi, back of the tongue is raised, then rounded vowel. Then a low, back, unrounded vowel. So these are the classifications of consonants and vowels. So we are finishing off early today, putting them all together. So this is the end part. I will pronounce all the 44 phonemes one more time. So stay with me, and so that you can go back and read. So this is putting everything together. You have in English, we have 44 phonemes, 24 consonants, 20 vowels. So you have plosives, affricates, fricatives, nasal, lateral, rhotic or drill. Then you have semi-vowel. Then you have vowels here, monophthongs and diphthongs. So first one, stay with me. Let us pronounce all the 44. P, B, T, D, K, G, Ch, J, F, V, T, D, S, Z, Sh, J, H, M, N, M, L, R, V, Y, E, E, A, 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 U, U, A, O, O, I, A, I, ear, A, U, A, O. Okay, so if you want to, so these are the 44 sounds. Listen to this again and again so that you can easily remember all the technicality associated with these 44 phonemes. So today's class, we discussed one important part. That's the toughest part actually. Under linguistics, unit 9, we finished phonology. What is essential for your examination? There are a lot of things. This one class is enough for that part, for your exam. If you want to learn, other things, please put it on mute. Yes. Want to explain? So follow this link. So you have just, if you want to look at the chart, phonetic chart, explain the first one. Then you have by BBC, it's around 1 hour or 2 hour. Very beautiful video. If you want to learn, okay, I want to learn all the 44, very beautiful, technically, and with the chart, and the editor is, she's very, very clean, very neat, lucid presentation. Received phonemes, RP phonemes, pronunciation by BBC. That's a beautiful link, but it's the length 1 hour, 1.5 hours, I think around 2 hours. So if you want to learn all the 44 and if you have patience, go for that. But that's a beautiful video. First one is very short, 44 button pronouncement. Next, International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA, kind of an introduction. Next one, so if you want to know the classification of English speech sounds, next, introduction to articulatory phonetics, consonants, matton, then you have vowels, then introduction to IPA. So I have given all the links. So if you want to learn it further, if not for this exam, TRB, if you want to learn it for life and for teaching, you can follow all these links. Essential reading. I learned for the first time, Professor Siva Subramanian from Presidency College Chennai, he taught me phonology first, linguistics first. And still I'm learning. I'm yet to imitate him perfectly, emulate him. But anyway, if you want to learn, kind of an introduction, this book is really nice, really good. Peter Roach, English Phonetics and Phonology, a practical course. This is the book I bought and enjoyed reading, except some disappointments with the CD. English Phonetics and Phonology, a practical course, but a beautiful book. You can also, I think, online available. Next, you have Mike Davenport and S.J. Hannex. I stumbled upon this book in the library, Loyola College library. Then I enjoyed reading this book, Introducing Phonetics and Phonology, now in its 4th edition. Both are 4th editions. So these two books will, for the future, if you want to learn for that, okay? So with this, we wind up the class. So if you have any questions, you can ask now. So we finished off with, of course, what you have to do today. Number one, go through this video again and again. It will be shared with you. I hope the PPT or the entire lecture. So we finished off with only one significant part, the unit 9. Under linguistics, we finished phonology. So we have morphology, and you have a transformational generative grammar, ideolect, dialect. Then you have all the things. Tomorrow we will go for the other parts. Next few days, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, maximum Thursday, I will finish off linguistics, everything. It's actually very minimum. The nature and scope of linguistics, speech and writing, form and meaning, words, class, phrase, concord, government, sentence patterns. So we can finish it off. We can finish it off in next few days. I will try to finish off in tomorrow and day after tomorrow. I will try to finish off linguistics. Then we will go for language, or we will come back to literary criticism. We finished off only few essays, 3 essays properly. We will come back to criticism and we will jump to, or I will think of some other thing. Okay. So next few days, we are focusing on unit 9. We will try to finish off that small part but significant part, linguistics. See, some of you may question, I have attended this exam, sir. I didn't even prepare this part, yet I have scored well. Beautiful, no problem at all. This is more psychological. If you think I have covered this part, it only psychologically helps you. Okay, I have covered, I have no worries. That kind of a significant one. It's more psychological. So don't think, oh my God, it's tough. It's so technical. Don't bother about that. Once you know this thing, at least you can eliminate options, in the exam and come up with the right, choose the right answer. So that's the thing I'm focusing on. So it's more psychological than, appealing to your brain. So with this, I wind up the class. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can ask now. Tomorrow's plan, yes, we are focusing on most probably, I'm focusing on morphology and syntax, including TG grammar and other sentence structures and other things. So tomorrow, morphology and syntax. So that's tomorrow's portion. Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask. Those are today. I think with this we are closing off our demo classes. If you want to join. It's up to you. Or else we will be releasing our material soon. I'm on the verge of finishing our reading material for all the 10 units. The beautiful thing about our material reading material, we read the original. Especially me, I read the entire unit 10 and all the other thing. I saw the original books, and we also released the decoded syllabus, which I hope you might have got. I hope no other institution has cracked or decoded what is there in William Peacock's English words or Faber's or other anthologies. We did that. So within a week, we will try to release our material by 15, I guess, maximum 15. We will be winding up all the other things. So you can, if you don't want to join, if you want only the reading material, you can buy, or you can join the course. It's up to you. And the course, you should remember, it's around 3.5 months. So every week you will have more than 5 or 6 classes. Monday to Friday, I plan, or Saturday. Saturday we will think you need some rest. You can't be hectic. So you need rest on Saturdays and Sundays. We try to focus on Monday to Friday. So Monday to Friday for next 3 or 3.5 months, March, April, May, June. June end, you have exam. So 3.5 months, this kind of intensive preparation, you will feel, number one, psychologically, you will be boosted. Oh my God, I know I covered all the 10. That is that. Then everything associated with all the units and the background, everything, you also have reading materials and test and everything. So thank you for attending these demo classes. And those who have joined our classes, thank you for attending the 3rd class. Tomorrow we will for the 4th class. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can ask, or we are winding up.